Ready to rock and roll? Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with Haynes King. Questions for Haynes? Rod?
Yesterday, Coach talked about some of the things that Duke likes to do up front, stunts and that type of thing. As a quarterback, what are you looking for when you line up?
One, it kind of depends on play, but, for the most part, see what front they're in to get the protection right, make sure that's all right, and then right before the snap, you're looking at the shell of the defense. Is it one high, two high? Does it look like man, zone, stuff like that?
What kind of things have you seen from Duke just on tape?
They're a really well-coached football team. They try to cause a lot of havoc defensively, whether it's up front or trying to create turnovers on the back end. So they do a really good job of doing that so far, and I think they've caused like 11 turnovers this season already. So they do like I said, they do a really good job of doing that, and then they're a really well-coached football team defensively.
Haynes, you talked about last week the message obviously being just to elevate going up against Virginia Tech. What's kind of been the message this week? What's kind of what you've been telling kind of the players as the leader of this team, what you guys want to do and accomplish on Saturday?
Really just do your job, execute. Up front, if we put a hat on the hat and cover guys up, we'll be fine to get the play started. And then on the perimeter, if we block guys and make plays on the perimeter, whether it's catching or making people miss out in space, then we'll have a really good chance in this game. But, if we don't do that and, everybody takes their turn, then we're going to struggle. But, that's the main message was, just do your job and execute.
When you first got here, Georgia Tech was definitely underdogs, right? Like you guys had that underdog mentality. That's clearly shifted. Is that something you guys talk about, think about, or don't care about?
No, we don't talk about it much because, like I've said before, we try to eliminate all external noises and stuff like that and focus on ourselves. Our opponents are faceless. And if we handle our business, everything will be fine. But like I said, Duke's going in here, they're a really good football team. And, we're going to have our hands full for 4 quarters.
I know you're mostly focused on the Duke defense, but have you seen Menza play? I know y'all both been mentioning kind of big time quarterbacks this year. Just what do you think about his game, and what have you seen from him that kind of be as good as he has been this year?
I haven't seen much, but I've seen a little bit. I met him this summer when I was at the Manning Passing Academy. Really good guy, and so far he's been slinging it around. So he's been playing good. The little that I've seen.
The last 3 weeks that you guys have played, there's been a team that's had a bye week involved. How important do you think it is for that team to have the bye week going into a game?
The other team?
Yeah.
It definitely gives them I guess you'd say a lead in watching us, and an extra week and stuff like that, so they get ahead. But like I said, it's all external noise, all external factors. As long as we focus on ourselves and how can we improve, how can we continue to get better, we'll be fine.
You had a bunch of guys from 1990 here over the weekend, a bunch of former coaches. Were you ever talk to any of those guys? Any of those guys come talk to you?
Yes, every now and then. Very seldom. But, it's always nice just seeing a bunch of those guys come back and watch and cheer us on, and the support that they have and the excitement that comes with it.
Just going back to Mensa and the Duke offense, of course you guys want to score on every single possession, but it's like, is there any added pressure just in a week like this when you're facing a really potent offense to maximize every one of your possessions?
No, not really. It's a football game, Find ways to win, whether it's, scoring every drive or, finding ways to control the ball, time of possession, stuff like that. Just find ways to win, whatever it is and whatever the game plan is. How are you going to execute? How are you going to prioritize what's going on in your life to be able to go through that and have a successful game?
Haynes, what's just your thoughts on their defensive front and defensive line? They got one of the top guys in the country, Anthony Vincent Jr., 6.5 sacks this year. Just what's your thoughts on the defensive front for Duke?
I mean, they're very explosive. They play hard. They have a almost kind of like an energy bug. They're not going to quit. They play through the whistle. Like I said before, they try to cause a lot of havoc, whether it's stunts or just playing really, really hard. So, like I said, we're going to have our hands full for 4 quarters. They're really well coached up front, and if we handle our business, then we'll see what happens.
Last Saturday, you noticed that several of your offensive linemen were really laying down some good blocks downfield that allowed you to go up with some big runs. What have you seen from the progress in that respect there with the some of the new guys that are playing for the first time this year?
I mean, each and every week, they get better, and that's just kind of like the standard throughout our practice. We keep pushing these guys to chase the ball. The ball breaks or whatever, let's chase it. Or strain, stuff like that. And those are some of the stuff that we preach and we coach here, just straining and chasing the ball and play with effort, great effort.
Luke had another strong performance on Saturday. What have you seen from him just as he's continuing to grow and progress in this offense?
I mean, he's only going to get better. Right now he's still kind of young, but each and every week, like you said, he's progressed and starting to become more of knowing what's going on and his role for this team. And like I said, each and every week, the better he plays, the better that we are, because he can make stuff happen in open space. So it just makes the whole team better and more explosive. So, I mean, like I said, he's only going to get better, and the stars are bright for him.
Alex?
The noon kickoff a few weeks ago at Wake, team got off to a slow start. Do you guys take any lessons from that? Do you change anything up? How do you kind of approach that with a noon road kickoff this week?
I mean, we necessarily hadn't changed anything, but we've definitely learned from it, and everybody's trying to get prepared for it, and and it doesn't just happen going into the weekend. That Friday night to Saturday, it starts right now. Like that Tuesday, Wednesday, are you getting enough sleep? Are you hydrating? Are you getting yourself ready to play at noon? Whatever those factors were, like that's more of what we're doing, and it just kind of opened our eyes on. Maybe we weren't fully prepared that game, but other than that, like we hadn't really changed anything.
Anything else for Haynes? Haynes, appreciate you, bud.
All right, thank y'all.